So Matt Gaetz, the congressman from QAnon who heads the House's child sex trafficking caucus, is facing serious legal jeopardy. Let's talk about it in today's video.
Oh my God, I'm so excited! I'm so excited! I mean, everyone thinks you're crazy. I don't think you're crazy. People think you're a pedophile. I don't think you're a pedophile at all. I don't think he's a pedophile at all. The charges against him are totally false. They're totally false. Oh my God.
Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. If you share my concerns, maybe you could like this video, subscribe to this channel, maybe even click that little bell that will notify you when I post something new. So you just saw part of a video from Midas Touch showing where Matt Gaetz was accosted by someone saying he's not a pedophile. And Matt Gaetz, of course, was insulted. Well, we all know that this was a joke and that the person was just trying to point out the reality of how Matt Gaetz is. And you could see the protesters then, later on in that video, yelling about how Matt Gaetz is a pedophile. Now, the sad truth of it is this would be funny were it not for it being real. And it's especially outrageous given the fact that QAnon is supposedly set up to try to protect children from sex trafficking, accusing people like Hillary Clinton of being involved in sex trafficking, which is absurd. I can't even believe I feel the need to say that. Gaetz, though, on the other hand, has a close associate. His friend Joel Greenberg had to resign from his post as a tax collector in Seminole County in Florida after the federal government brought charges against him for sex trafficking. Now, Greenberg is supposedly cooperating with federal law enforcement in their investigation, as shown by the fact that the judge in the case has delayed sentencing in his case till March. It's clear, though, that Greenberg is very close with Gaetz, and actually, there's a picture out there that shows him visiting the White House in 2019 with Gaetz. Allegedly, Gaetz was involved in a relationship with a 17-year-old girl and paid for her to travel with him. If those allegations are proven to be true, this would be clear evidence of violation of federal sex trafficking laws. And the fact that Greenberg is cooperating with federal prosecutors who have expanded their investigation at a number of junctures to include experts on charging people with child sex trafficking have really gotten under Gaetz's skin. In fact, he said on a recent podcast with Steve Bannon that if the Republicans take control of Congress, he's going to be seeking retribution against the Justice Department for this investigation against him. Well, in typical MAGA fashion, Gaetz is, of course, claiming that this is some type of liberal conspiracy against him, forgetting the fact that this investigation was launched by the Barr Justice Department during the Trump administration and has nothing to do with Democrats being involved with it. The most recent piece of news in this investigation is that Gaetz's ex-girlfriend was called to testify in front of the grand jury in this case. Now, in a development that should be particularly alarming to Gaetz, the ex-girlfriend was granted immunity in the probe. Now, why should this be particularly worrying to Gaetz? Well, we have to remember that in many prosecutions, if someone is afraid that their testimony will somehow incriminate themselves, under the Fifth Amendment, they can refuse to answer questions. However, an individual who's been granted immunity has no such protections. They have to answer the questions. The Fifth Amendment only protects you from prosecution based upon statements that you made under oath. But if you are not facing prosecution for those charges, because of the fact that you've been granted immunity, then you have no basis to refuse to answer questions under the Fifth Amendment. As a result, the feds seem to believe that this ex-girlfriend has some pretty damning information on Gaetz and want to be able to compel her to testify, even if she would prefer not to protect his cover-up in this case. Now, this is just the latest twist in an investigation that has only gotten more bizarre as each day goes by. In August, a Florida real estate developer was brought up on federal charges based upon an effort that he had where he approached Matt Gaetz and his family to try to get $25 million out of them in exchange for being able to get a pardon of Gaetz from Donald Trump. Now, this seems like a dubious scheme to start with, and certainly the individual deserves to face charges on it, but it just shows the level of seaminess that surrounds the Gaetz family and Matt Gaetz and his friends in particular. I think Gaetz has good reason to be worried The prosecutors are not going to back off if they have evidence to charge him. And there is nothing that prosecutors love more than bringing down an elected official. Hey, if you like that video, you might want to check out this one. It'll give you more ammunition to fight off the MAGA crowd and stand up for our small d and big D democratic values. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.